And the Wall Street Journal comes out and they're reporting that there are incentives for ICE agents because they need to meet that insane 3,000 people a day quota, that they're getting rewarded even if they bring in people who then get released. These stories of Americans being detained saying, show me your papers. There was a veteran, U.S. veteran, who's on a Carnival cruise, a U.S. veteran on a Carnival cruise with his wife who was taken out of his cabin, someone who served this country.
What is the percentage?
U.S. citizen. Do not act like ICE isn't making, I don't even know how many mistakes a day in pursuit of Stephen Miller's 3,000 a day quota and getting paid for it.
Fox host Jessica Tarlov, as usual, wasn't taking any of the BS her co-host flung at her. Now, if you're skeptical about her claim of arrest quotas, listen to Stephen Miller's own words from last summer.
Under President Trump's leadership, we are looking to set a goal of a minimum of 3,000 arrests for ICE every day, and President Trump is going to keep pushing to get that number up higher each and every single day so we can get all of the Biden illegals that were flooded into our country for 4 years out of our country. And we can't take the risk of letting these Biden illegals roam around freely.
While the Trump administration continues to distance itself from Miller's quota demands, it is undeniable at this point that ICE's goal all along has been to inflict terror on anyone whom they perceive to be an immigrant, which in the real world means they're going after anyone who isn't white enough for their liking. Case in point.
We, as law enforcement community, have been receiving endless complaints about civil rights violations in our streets from U.S. citizens. What we're hearing is they're being stopped in traffic stops or on the street with no cause and being forced to demand paperwork to determine if they are here legally. We started hearing from our police officers the same complaints as they fell victim to this while off duty. Every one of these individuals is a person of color who has had this happen to them. When she became concerned about the rhetoric and the way she was being treated, she pulled out her phone. In an attempt to record the incident, the phone was knocked out of her hands, prevented her from recording it. The officer had their guns drawn during this interaction. And after the officer became so concerned, they were forced to identify themselves as a Brooklyn Park police officer in hopes of slowing the incident and de-escalating the incident down. The agents then immediately left after hearing this, making no other comments, no other apologies, just got in their vehicles and left. I wish I could tell you that this was an isolated incident. In fact, many of the chiefs standing behind me have similar incidents with their off-duty officers. If it is happening to our officers, it pains me to think of how many of our community members are falling victim to this every day. It has to stop.
It is so striking to see local law enforcement, like these Minnesota police chiefs, criticize their federal law enforcement comrades so forcefully and in public. It's one thing to do it in private, but to do it in public for everybody to see, that means they're fed up, right? Especially when it comes to racial profiling and the filming of law enforcement. And these incidents of racial profiling show the true ambitions and goals of ICE and the Trump administration. And it's not to make America safer by taking out all these illegal immigrants who are bringing so much crime to America. No. It is to harm individuals who are not white enough and bring so much terror to their lives, and do it without any regard for their humanity. Okay? They want to make you scared so that you don't have any inkling of fighting back and holding them accountable. And even if you are white, as we've seen, right, you're still liable to get killed by these officers. So nobody say, but there is a specific goal here. And again, it's not about making the streets safer in America whatsoever. They coming after black and brown people and all these marginalized communities. And they will not stop until somebody puts an end to it.
Shame on you.
Listen, have y'all not learned from the past couple of days? Have you not learned?
Learned what? What's our lesson here? What do you want us to learn?
Following federal agents.
Give me my phone back. Oh, you can't take my phone.
This is your warning. This is your warning.
For what?
Stop following us. You are impeding operations.
So let people go to church.
You did not learn from what just happened?
What these two brief ICE interactions show you is the mindset they're operating under. And that mindset is, listen, we can do whatever we want to you. So you better not test us. You better not provoke us, quote unquote, or instigate. Or else you saw what happened to that person. You saw what happened to this person. You could be next. That's basically what they're implying when they say, didn't you see what happened earlier? Have you not been warned? Like, these people they're not good people whatsoever. They're terrible individuals who deserve so much shame and ridicule. And even then, that wouldn't be enough for the actions that they have committed to under the direction of the Trump administration.
The conduct that's taken place in this particular surge by ICE is not something that is usual. It's not something that has been lawful. It's not something that has been constitutional. It is not to say that ICE can't be present, but ICE certainly cannot do what it has been doing in Minnesota, much of which you've covered, which is horrific and does actually have flashpoints of the American civil rights movement. The only difference then is that it was the federal government looking to uphold the Constitution, looking to uphold Supreme Court decisions and to protect citizens against unlawfulness by the state. But here you have an inverse, a reverse of that. The federal government is not above the law. The rule of law is to be imposed on any branch of government, any branch of law enforcement. That's whether it's state law enforcement or federal law enforcement. Simply being part of the federal government does not allow the federal government to breach the rule of law, the Constitution, or legal norms and values. So much of what we've not necessarily been hearing about, while we've heard about Renee's horrific death, but what we haven't heard as much about are some of these instances that have been portrayed, that have been carried out in the Twin Cities that are really quite dangerous and really words are hard to describe except those that cause us deep pain, such as terrorism inflicted upon American citizens in that state.
The chaos happening in Minneapolis right now, I'm not sure if it's going to be an inflection point for the Trump administration to dampen or double down on their violence and terror campaign. My hunch tells me it is going to be the latter, right, where they double down on it because they've been able to get away with so much, right? Whether the courts rule one thing, they still do what they want. Like, okay, that's what the courts rule. We're going to do this other thing anyway. We're going to defy the court order. So I would hope that it would dampen their commitment to this violence and terror campaign. But it's hard for me to see at this point, based on how everything has gone during his second presidency, right? His second term, and all the violations that have been committed, and yet they still do them. They still go out there and do whatever they want. Now, these ICE operations, will they be an inflection point for the American public, regardless of their previous political affiliations? It better be. Otherwise, I already know we have a lot of ignorant and foolish people in this country. But if not, then we really are in a hopeless period, because you can't watch what you're watching unfold every single day from these ICE agents and not feel anger towards them, right? Not feel disappointment for what they're carrying out, the orders that they're carrying out. So I hope it's an inflection point. Because if you stand for this, if you approve of this, then there is something seriously wrong with you. But I would hope that the majority of this country would see that what they're doing is heinous and nobody should stand for it, and they need to be held accountable immediately. For Rebel HQ, I'm Chris Williamson. We'll see you next time.